Hello, hello. Hope you're all doing well and social distancing as much as you can. My name is Emily, and this is a list of series that I want to finish in 2020. I acknowledge that this is highly aspirational to me because things could change. I could find new books that I want to read, but this is a list that I am prioritizing. Some of these I have discovered this year and want to just finish right away, but some of these are also books that I have been putting off for a while. Maybe I read the first book, but have not gotten around to the sequels, even though I love the first book. But I feel like by not finishing these series, I'm just missing out on big cultural experiences and references and memes. So let's get right to it. Let's talk about some book series. First, I need to talk about the Shades of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. So Shades of Magic is basically about a man called Kel. So he lives in a world where there are 4 alternate worlds, but in each of them there's a London. So he lives in Red London, but he regularly goes to Grey London. There is also a White London and also a Black London where nobody goes. So Kel has an ability to travel between all of these alternate worlds. Officially, he does this as a courier between different royalty, but unofficially he does this to smuggle magical objects. And in Darker Shade of Magic, he discovered a very powerful, destructive object, and that prompts a lot of people to start coming after him. So I really loved the first book of this series, but I also felt that there could be more done with the story and the world. But I am told that future books in this series are much better. This is often lauded as V.E. Schwab's best fantasy series, so of course I want to read the rest and take part in that experience. Next up is the Immortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. So I feel like this series really needs no summary or explanation. It is such a huge phenomenon on BookTube already. So I read the first 3 books in the last 2 or 3 years. I've also read all of the Infernal Devices books, and I was tentative about diving into the last 3 books because I was told they weren't as good. But at this point, I really want to finish those books because without finishing that series, I can't read books like Lady Midnight. And also, I don't feel like I can read Chain of Gold. I know I can read Chain of Gold because I've read Infernal Devices, but I also feel like I should read this definitive series and finish it before I move on, because that series has defined a lot of the world building in the Shadowhunter world. And with Cassie Clare, I feel like it's always best to read all of the books that came before so that you can understand all of the different references and world building bits in her future books. I mean, I feel like I would have understood Infernal Devices or appreciated it a lot more if I had more experience with her Shadowhunter world before. So it's a goal for me this year to just finish that series because it's just been on my mind for so long and I should just do it. Next up is the Mistborn Trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. This is another series that I feel like really needs no introduction, but it is set in a world where there are a lot of people who can do magic with metals. Really, I should reread the first Mistborn book because I read it 2 or 3 years ago and I don't remember a lot of what happened in it. I think it was also in that period where I was rushing through a lot of books and maybe not absorbing them. I'm actually hoping to reread that first book this month, and I'm told that this series does get a lot better as it goes on. I did like the first book, The Final Empire, but I thought a lot of dialogue was a bit stilted and it didn't jive that much with me. It wasn't an instant favorite for me, but also I don't trust that version of myself that read it, so I just want to read it again. And I'm also told that a lot of these things get better in the future books, so I'm hoping so. I just want to get around to reading this trilogy. Next up is the Stormlight Archive, which is very aspirational. This series is also by Brandon Sanderson. This is set in a universe that was once ruled by a set of knights called the Knights Radiant, but then a long time ago they abandoned their duties, leaving the land to a lot of turmoil. So I read the first book, The Way of Kings, in February for Tome Topple Readathon, and in it we followed the perspectives of 4 different main characters who are in different situations around this world. I love how Brandon Sanderson was able to convey each character's psychology. Also, of course, his world building is amazing. This world was very well drawn. I felt it was very real, and he was also very consistent, which is very admirable. But those books are very, very long. It took me a week and a half to read the first book, so I don't know if I can get to the other 2 books before the 4th comes out, but We'll see. I still want to read it. It's great. The next series is the Winternight series by Catherine Arden. I read the first book, The Bear and the Nightingale, last month. This is a series about a girl called Vasya who is gifted with the ability to see different spirits. This is based on Russian folklore, so a lot of these spirits are folklore spirits, maybe household spirits or nature spirits, but at times that ability causes her to be ostracized from her community. I thought The Bear and the Nightingale was fantastic. I love how true to history it was. And of course, I love any story based on folklore. I love the fairy tale atmosphere. And Sam from Thoughts on Tomes has said that the last book is actually the best, so I really want to get around to that book. And of course, I have to finish the Three Dark Crowns series. At this point, it's absolutely embarrassing that I haven't finished it because I love this series so much. It's one of my favorite series in the last 3 or 4 years. But if you don't know, Three Dark Crowns is about an island queendom. Every generation there are a set of triplet princesses who have to fight to the death for the throne, and they each have different magical abilities corresponding to the different magical factions around the island. So this story focuses on a particular iteration of this conflict. I love the magic of the story. I love the political movements throughout the story, different plans being set and executed. And of course, I love the characters. I love a lot of the internal conflict because these sisters are family and they do care for each other, but also they have their own political duties both to the nation and also their own political factions. And I just have one book left, so I really should just go and read it. Also, this is a series that I think all of BookTube should just honor and praise a lot more. So those are the series that I want to finish in 2020. Let me know down below what series you haven't finished yet but want to finish soon. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you want more of this content. In the meantime, you can find me on Twitter and Goodreads and Instagram. Stay healthy and well, everyone, and I will see you in my next video.